Hello, what's good? This is Inspirational. We're trying the PS5 setup again. I don't think the audio was as nice as I wanted it last week, and that's because I'm using my headset instead of the mic. So I'm gonna try it again this week. Let me know specifically how the audio is for you. If you enjoy the older audio, because it should be better. And for me, I believe that audio is kind of superior, especially since you guys are listening and my face isn't as important. So let me know in the comments down below. Today we'll be talking about chapter 76 of Purple Hyacinth. Let me pull it up real quick. Obviously I can't show it because this is FastPass. This is your spoiler warning, so if you don't use FastPass coins for Purple Hyacinth, you should definitely turn away from this video because this is full of spoilers. Wait about a month, in the new year. This should be the second chapter of 2021, and it's a pretty good one for sure. So this chapter 76 is titled Terrible Truth, and it's pretty terrible. So with the introduction out of the way, let's get into it. This chapter was rough for Lauren. As we can see, even in the beginning, we get the distortion of her thoughts and of the files that she saw when she was in the archivist place, right? She saw the files of her parents and Sandman, and all of that's getting warped, just like when we had it in the finale of season 1 in chapter 49. And how when she learned the truth there, or when she had to deal with the fact that her parents and everything, it was also getting distorted, just like Dylan. So let's get to the end of the chapter, because that's where the real spice is, right? So Sandman lies for the first time in a good amount of chapters. There was some debate kind of on whether Sandman was actually telling the truth or not, because maybe Lauren was in an impaired state because she did get kidnapped and he did drug her, so that could impair her judgment, therefore potentially affecting her ability. And although I didn't fully believe it because, the authors didn't specifically state it, here we have at the end that she can pick up lies and that Sandman has been telling the truth this entire time. Which is even harder for Lauren, because the issue with her ability that Lauren has come to is that she understands that there's times that people don't tell the full truth, right? We've seen it, I think, almost 3 occasions now. There's Will, when they were having the shoplifter episode, and Will always tells the truth, but clearly there's something bothering him that he doesn't want to talk about with Lauren. And then there's Kieran, who gets around, kind of skirts the lies, because he kind of understands Lauren's ability pretty well, so he can find ways to not lie unless he wants to draw her attention. Of course, like in the 40s or whatnot, his mood and his mindset gets the better of him, where he slips up, but for the most part, Kieran is very good at not telling lies to Lauren unless necessary, for a specific reason. Who else? Her parents, obviously, is what we learned from today, from this chapter, is that her parents have been not constantly lying to her, but basically withholding information so it doesn't get picked up by her ability. Whether it's that they know that she has the ability or not, I don't think that's the real takeaway here. I think it's more so that her parents withheld this information completely to keep Lauren out of the loop and keep her as safe as possible, because in the little flashback we see we have to keep her safe, we have to keep her safe, because Lauren's their only child, I'm assuming, so that's their main priority no matter what. So let's get into the lie. So Sandman says no, that he didn't know. He says that he didn't know the children that were there. He doesn't know what happened to the children, but he did know one of them. Now, I think this is a really interesting lie, because the clear thing that we can look at is he talking about Dylan here? And I don't think so. I think Dylan is too straightforward, and Dylan is the one that would be the most likely option, especially since that's clearly what Lauren is thinking, but, you know, Sandman knows other children that are related, and not related to Lauren, but have ties with Lauren, right? Technically, you can have Raphael part of this, you know, children, because he would be a teenager at that point, and that would actually work for Sandman's favor, because Raphael or Apollo or whatever did defect at the train bombing or around that time, so it would make sense that he would also be the one for it. So I think it could be Dylan. I think it could be Raphael. Who else would have a tie-in? Maybe it's DL, someone related to Kim, or someone that Kim looked up for if they were even a teenager. I'm predicting that DL was a old police officer, so that doesn't really fit the bill. Who else could be tied to that? I think those are the two main candidates. I'm sure there's others, but again, like, don't only think that it's Dylan, because I feel like that's too narrow-minded of an approach, and I think the authors would want to use that to misdirect us, like they've done plenty of times throughout the story, by only giving us a certain bit of information and trying to tease us in that direction and then flipping the script on us. So this could be a chance. Now granted, I thought that it was too obvious that Apollo was Raphael, and I was overthinking that for sure, so this could be another one of those, but I mean, who knows until we get the actual information for it. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of the chapter. Oh, initially I thought this was all rain. This is just like kind of the static lines, like just to show the effect. So I thought it was raining this entire time. I guess I was wrong. Obviously, I read the chapter once the night before, right before I go to bed, and just to get like my initial feels for it, and then I read it the next morning, today, which is Tuesday for me. We get on here and talk about it. And yeah, the little match that we saw, the rendering looked awesome, even when Sandman held the match in front of Lauren, as well as when he dropped it. The lighting and the kind of perspective shot for it was brilliant. But obviously it wasn't Belladonna. That was me a little thinking too much. It looks like Sandman is getting away scot-free. We'll see him again in 2 weeks. Where is our timeline now? Where are we, end of December still? Or are we at the beginning of January for them? I'm not sure, but 2 weeks doesn't still bring us close to February 14th, so we still have some time before that suspected trial run for the bombing that Sake was setting up, Ripsake. And this does bring up a good point, like Lauren brings up a good point. Did the Sinclairs know about the bombing, and were they unable to stop it? Because what it looks like is they were there after the fact to pick up Lauren from the station, right? Because we see them hugging Lauren after, you know, she's all dirtied and kind of from the aftermath of the explosion itself. So I don't know. That's very, very concerning, because that makes it seem like her parents did know about the bombing and they couldn't do anything about it. That goes to show, then, did they let their car be taken by Sake, by Sandman and the driver, or did they have a part in that as well? The little effect of the fire, like the ashes and the embers over Dylan's face, kind of on his, what is it? Hold up. The left eye? Yeah, the left eye looks dope. I want to say if Dylan is still alive, I don't think he is, but if he is, he would be missing an eye. I want to say this is somewhat of a foreshadowing for it, that his face is kind of scarred up, and maybe that's why he wears a mask. Is he one of the messengers? Maybe. Who knows? I still don't want Dylan to be alive, but if he were, that would be a nice little touch of foreshadowing that they put into this chapter. Obviously, Dylan isn't the highlight of this. This is more Lauren's breakdown of the reality that she lives in, where her parents were active members of the leader's entourage, the first and second apostle, or one of the earlier apostles. And it looks like most of the apostles are Snapdragon survivors, but those were culled off in the first wave. 6 of those apostles, yeah, 6, right, because there's 7 active apostles at the moment. So 6 of those original apostles were killed off, and they were probably all Snapdragon survivors, 2 of them being these Sinclairs. I actually enjoy Sandman. I think he plays a really good antagonist role. You know, this is what he wants. He wants the picture, he wants to tear down as many people as he can. Lauren kind of gives him the opportunity to do that, so he's just using her. It's a nice touch. I didn't think I would enjoy Sandman so much, right? Especially his line of, I'm only a ghost executing dirty, endless work until I actually die. And we see a lot of parallels with this and Kyrian as well. I really like that. And I think there's going to be a good dynamic between Sandman and Kyrian if they ever meet in the 2 weeks when Lauren comes and gives the picture. I'm sure Kyrian will be involved in some sort of way. And I like that Sandman's last bit of retribution is what he's believing is that if I can help Lauren with her thing, that's at least one thing to give back to Lauren's parents, because they all just wanted to protect her. So Sandman is at least trying to do that thing, right? Now, we don't know if that's his true intentions, whether here, because it's not a lie, he believes it, but what if there's an ulterior motive on top of it? And Lauren right after, I liked her little moment right after she got untied, saying that don't ever call me Ren again, because you don't deserve the right to. And I felt that was a really good touch. Lauren is angry, she's upset, and she's dealing with Sandman in a pretty mature way. So, she did break out a little, and she was really, anxious and nervous when he first removed the cover on her face, which is understandable, but now she's got her bearings a little more. They have a concrete plan, quote unquote plan, so at least there's something moving forward. Lauren can work towards learning more information from Sandman, especially figuring out who this child that Sandman claims that he didn't know. It makes me wonder, does Sandman know about her ability? It feels like Uncle Sinclair, Tristan, doesn't actually know about the ability either, so it's kind of contradictory because Lauren doesn't necessarily hide the fact that she has her ability really well. She's very upfront and open about it, so I don't know why she would be more hesitant and hiding it from her own family, especially people that have been around her when she was little, because she would be more prone to being in your face about the fact that you're lying. So why would these people still lie to her is, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. Maybe I'm missing a certain point here, but, yeah. It looks like we'll potentially get the name for Cigar Chick. I mean, who knows, she might actually die by the point that we get to the story in 2 weeks of the story time, but, who knows. Will Lauren actually still have Ansel's picture? I know I made a big case about that Tristan would not want to raise Lauren's suspicions by tampering with her murder board, especially when early on in the story Tristan was like, I'm not going to be the one to throw this board away, Lauren, you have to do it on your own. So would this, Tristan I don't think will touch the board, so therefore the picture should still be on there. So I don't know where the conflict will actually come. I think it'll come with the planning for Sandman's meeting itself. It would be very ironic if it happened at the Golden Clover again. I think that would be a nice touch, especially since we got the revisitation of the Golden Clover in 53, so we can reintroduce Karen Smith and potentially get Soleil back into it. But who knows where the meeting will actually be. I don't know. I think one thing that I can see playing out is Lauren actually tearing down the murder board to conceal the fact that she's taking the picture of Ansel, the picture that Ansel had, and I think that would be a good thing, especially while fake showing Tristan that she's moving on with her life, that her investigation isn't really going anywhere and she's tired of the 10 years of thing. That will raise a little suspicion with Tristan, but it'll kind of counter it by showing that Lauren's pretending to move on. I think that would be a cool dynamic to witness. Maybe it'll happen during the New Year's party if that hasn't happened yet. I feel like we're past New Year's, so I don't really know where we are in the timeline. But if this happens during the New Year's party, there could be a plot point that someone, one of the guests in the New Year's party, does stumble onto her murder board and takes the picture, and that causes some kind of drama or some kind of tension. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers the chapter. It looks like Lauren got out of the area free, right? Because this was March and his team, and they kind of got the clear. I think the little indication that this was where Lauren was taking place is that there's a little like line mark at the bottom of the beam where she was tied up so the dirt would be smudged off there. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up. Thank you so much for listening. As always, like the chapter when you finish reading and comment to be a part of the community. This chapter was good. A lot of thoughts in my head of where the story might go. Obviously, we have no idea. You know, there's still so many people at play. Is this the end of the Circus Royale arc itself? If so, it was okay. I don't think the circus members themselves got too much of a highlight, but the way that I view the circus members is they are the big distraction for everything that happens underneath. You know, they're the ones putting up the front so that Belladonna, or Hestia in this case, can do her thing and, you know, kill people off. So, we'll see. Thank you so much, and peace.